Today I have a ASMR Ramble showcase video of the Two Bugs tarot. I was lucky enough to snag this when Mary in the Sky was doing a flash sale a couple weeks ago. I didn't know this deck existed, and I really thought it looked neat. And I got it for a super good price, so I wanted to showcase it today. I feel like it might be different even just a couple weeks later. I had tried to look for videos when I saw it on her website. I don't remember there being a ton of ones for the Two Bugs tarot, so I thought I'd showcase it. One, because it's like that, and I just, I haven't worked with it much, so I thought it'd be a good opportunity for me as well, just to get to know the deck. So I'm trying to adjust the light. It's not, I think it's going out. So this is actually pink. It's not pink and purple like it's showing up, like from the shadow of the iPhone. So the back is just a plain pink. This is the box it comes in. It comes in a two-piece box. I know some of us, like to smell our cards, just like we do books. And I've heard someone else talk about this too. It does have kind of an odd smell, but I don't know that would stop me from using it. It's more smell like if you have it up next to your face. It's not like I'm getting like wafted. So anyways, it's Two Bugs tarot. The cover reminds me a lot of, I think it's the felt tarot, where there's a bunch of different images, different colors, kind of in almost like an explosion. So just like in other videos like this that I do, I will go pick each of the cards of something. If I have something to say, I might say it. And then at the end, do a 3-card spread. So hopefully this will be enjoyable for you. So let's go ahead and get started. So first card we have here is the 10 of Pentacles. I'll try to kind of hold it up. And I have it, they're not in order. King of Pentacles. It's a very whimsical deck. Page of Pentacles. The artwork, 8 of Wands. Reminds me a little bit of like a super simplified, I think it's the Zeppelin Moon, like Zoomies cards, like super simplified version of that. The Magician, and I don't mean that in a bad way, I just mean like the Zoomies one has a lot of different colors and animals, but it's the same kind of, feel like almost, I don't know what you'd call it, like whimsically reverent. I don't really know what alternative whimsical. I don't know if that makes any sense. So this is the 5 of Wands. As you can see, there's a lot of like just sort of one color. This is the 4 of Wands. And it looks like little cats. It says we're tiny. The 6 of Pentacles. The 8 of Cups. But there's like green, red. Some of the cards like this deck has multiple colors. I think, I haven't double checked, but it may be that most or all of the major arcana do. So this says, now do a silly one. Now an indifferent one. This is Temperance. I like things with little smiley faces, especially if they don't have a nose like these. Or they're just like anything with a smiley face. A super simple smiley face. Here's the World. The 10 of Wands. little turtle. So this is the deck that I think, like, the artwork for some people would be like this. Okay, I guess we're clouds now. Yeah, I mean, whimsically irreverent. I think that's what would describe that card. Justice. That's kind of a neat way to illustrate that. The Six of Swords. Same with this one. I don't have a lot of tarot imagery memorized, but the ones that I do recognize, it's kind of neat because I'm starting to like, oh yeah, that's that one. I mean, if they're following the traditional Rider-Waite. It says weather inappropriate hats. Five of Pentacles. The Three of Cups. I also need to double check. I think the colors may also be indicative of, this is Nine of Wands, of the suit. So red for Wands, yellow for Pentacles, Knight of Swords. It says yeah. Or does it say yeah or yeah? Yeah, that's what it says. Page of Wands. That was like a little Keebler elf. The Star. But yeah, this is a fun little deck. Four of Swords. And I like decks like this. Queen of Wands. And they're just sort of, you know, it's something unique, something. I think this one, we'll look at the guidebook together in a little bit, but I think this was actually a collaboration between two friends, the Empress. And if I remember right, it's like one drew and the other wrote in the guidebook, the Nine of Swords. And so it's just a neat, like, even that idea of co-creation. Six of Cups, which I know a lot of people do, right? The writer and the illustrator, not always the same. Seven of Pentacles. But I think sometimes people are closer or not, you know what I mean? Like sometimes someone's shopped around for an illustrator versus it just being like, hey, it's your buddy. You guys are making something fun for yourselves and for others. And the Ace of Cups. The Two of Pentacles. Again, I like things with smiley faces. What was that? The recent Whispering Spirits actually had a similar, I guess that kind of has a similar vibe to it too, with those sort of like different creatures with little faces. So while like not at all the same, it does have like, I feel like kind of similar, like almost fun vibe. Ace of Swords. So swords must be blue. King of Pentacles. Yellow. The Tower. It's kind of neat. The Ace of Pentacles. And it's interesting because, like I said, I don't know the Rider-Waite very well. I could tell from a couple of ones I do know that there is some. There's definitely like, I don't know if they fought it in all of them, but they've definitely fought in some. Queen of Pentacles. The Moon. That looks like, is that character from the, I can't remember what that children's book is. The Ace of Wands. The Seven of Swords. It says, are they noticeable? Yes, I think they are noticeable. The Wheel of Fortune. It's got a little butt sticking out. Yeah, you can see like the major arcana have all of the colors. Two of Wands. Just looking at my globe. It's cute. The Chariot. So yeah, I don't know. To me, for whatever reason, it has that sort of vibe of the Zeppelin Moon decks and the little bit of the Whispering Spirit in terms of imagery. Like they're not the same, if that makes sense, but there's parts that like resonate. Like I said, the smiling, the little creatures. I guess this one doesn't have all the colors. It has blue and red. The hermit, and this one has green and yellow. But it seems like the Four of Pentacles, it seems like the most of the major arcana have the four, like in that one. The Two of Cups, the Eight of Swords, the Nine of Cups, the Three of Wands, the Two of Swords. And I was gonna make this video earlier, but I've been kind of extra tired, so I just had it. But I'm glad I'm doing it now. The Hanged Man, it's kind of neat. Broken Clock. The Knight of Cups. It says, ooh la la. The Three of Pentacles. See, like, this is cute. We're all in blankets. The Eight of Pentacles. The Nine of Pentacles. So my guess this is one of those decks that's like probably not for everyone. I mean, I guess that's all decks. But if you like whimsy, we haven't like yet dug into it, but the guidebook's pretty meaty. So if you're a guidebook person, if you're a fan, whimsy, cute, a simple color scheme, fully reverent. I think this seems like a kind of deck that goes along those different lines. There's the Lover, Judgment, that's kind of cool, one of those anglerfish, Queen of Cups, the Fool. I don't know why he's like a macaroni, but I like him as macaroni. Oh, maybe because he's about to get into some soup, some pasta and some soup. Oops. Fallen into the soup. Ten of Cups. I'll do this one so we end on this other one. King of Wands. And the Emperor. He's a cactus. Alright, so that's all the cards. So I'm going to leave that there for a minute and let's look a little bit in the guidebook. Like I said, very meaty. Doesn't even fit in the thing. So it's not in the guidebook. I mean, sorry, in the box. But it is a nice guidebook. It has some color parts of it. Nice smooth pages. And yeah, here's so I'll read a little bit from like the beginning. Some words about this deck and book. We made this deck and book as gifts for each other. Miden drew the images, Anna wrote the words, and then something cool happened that felt quite simply like magic. Now we're so excited to share these friendly objects with you and your friends. And Anna says, Miden gave me this tarot deck as a gift for my birthday during the pandemic. The cards were so delightful, so witty and funny and surprising, that I naturally wanted to spend time writing and thinking about them. The deck is full of clever renditions of the classics, as well as sparkling and poignant original takes. I feel like I have a richer understanding of the cards after spending time with them as refracted through Miden's playful and inspiring instincts, and I think you will too. They're very warm and creatively potent cards. And then Miden, the other creator. So it's Anna Olsen and Miden Wood. Miden says, as for the book, right here in your hands, the writing Anna has done, no matter your relationship with tarot, is a tremendous catalog of loving guidance, touching on so many big life themes. These essays have made me laugh or cry, have made me feel very taken care of as they helped me see something in a new way. How lucky I am to have found this document of my wise and vivacious friend. Anna's perspective, whether written down in this book or shared laughingly over the phone, makes my life better. I really think it can be a boost for you too. And then they have a section on shuffling, on reversed cards. They have an exercise in reversed cards. That might be interesting. interesting at some point to do. It says, and it's nice because they like both parts. So like this is about the reverse cards, like review the themes, set a timer, take a look at what you've written. So that's kind of nice. And then for each major arcana, they have pretty big reading. It's in color, and then like look for the full. Whereas for the minor arcana, I think the royals have more information, and then the minor arcana, let's see. Oh, they've organized them by number rather than suits. So like the sixes, they do a picture. So like here's the sixes, all four of them. And then 6 of cups, 6 of pentacles. So it's kind of a different way of doing it. It might also be a different way of, nice way of learning, what do you call it, learning? The number, like, I was reading a book, I think it's I used to read out of it on here. Can't remember its name now. But she talked about a lot about the numbers, like for each suit. I can't exactly remember where it's like, oh, the 2s are all kind of about this, or the 3s are all kind of float around this idea, or whatever. If I remember right. So might be an interesting way of looking at the cards. So I'm shuffling. Let's go ahead and start putting some cards down. So that's from the top of the deck. From the middle, and I'm going to pull another middle. And another middle. Just for the fun of it. So let's see what we have. Oh, card slid over. I'll see if I want to add it at the end, if it seems like something, the stories are not quite coming together. So we have Justice. We have the 7 of Swords. I liked both of those ones. That's the one that says, are they noticeable? That's funny. And then the 8 of Cups. If I remember right, and I don't remember well, that little lobster guy is part of the 8 of Cups imagery in general. You guys know better than me. I wish this light was a little better that way, maybe. Well, that's as good as gonna get. So, like in the others, what I've started trying to do is look at the cards themselves first, see if I notice any similarities, just on the ground trying to get more comfortable. See if there's any similarities, see if anything jumps out at me. So, to me, I see these are kind of related because sometimes you have to fight for justice. And I like how he's sort of hoarding the swords, and it's like, oh, does anybody see me doing this? So it's like, okay, what side of justice is on? Like, it could be on the good side of justice. And he's just like, keeping his swords close to the chest. He could be on the bad side of justice and be like hoarding weapons and about to attack. And this seems a little more calming, almost like sort of going out to sea, or like, I don't know. Again, I don't know the meanings in and out of tarot, so I'm just reading it as I see it. And then, like I said, I'll look at the book and see how they see it. And that's how I do things. Because the suit's green, cups, blue, swords, and then Justice has a little of it all. The snake, who has obviously eaten something here, is green like the cups, and the little bowls or half moons or half circles have that sword's color. So yeah, so I see these as kind of in the same sort of like world, almost like if we thought of justice as like the court system, sort of there's an adversarial aspect. But justice isn't always that. Justice is also, you know, more particularly in these cases, I think about balance, but because of these two together, I see it more as like the adversarial type of justice. I'm going to go ahead and take that fourth card. Maybe that can help. So Six of Swords, that was one I like to see. I think if I remember right, in regular tarot, there's a baby sleeping, and here you can't see real well because I think it's not, won't zoom in, but there's a little teeny tiny goose or swan on the back of that swan. So this is the Six of Swords. So this also, it's funny. Tarot's amazing. So what I think's funny is because I was talking about going out to sea. Like, that's exactly what's sort of happening there, right? It's like, it's going out to sea. So, another thing I noticed is because these are both blue, and because they've done that with the colors, I almost think of, like, depending on what the reading is, seeing these as maybe the same character even in the story. Like, is that me? I don't know. Because I'm not good at reading for other people. I probably will read it as me. But yeah, so these may be the same person, maybe not. So let's go ahead and start reading, because it's going to be longer because their entries are longer. So let's do justice. We have number, is it 11? 11. I'm always proud of myself for knowing my Roman numerals. I don't know why. It's kind of dumb. Oh my, this is a very long one. So I hope you like guidebooks. I know I do. It says justice. Well, 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 looks like someone had a big lunch. Our snake here is momentarily caught between the scales, stuck with her very full belly dragging down one side of the equation. What or whom did she eat? How long will she be stuck this way? What must she digest in order to get out of this predicament? There's no uneating it, after all. What's done is done. And now there is the bellyache of reckoning. The symbols of justice in its traditional form, the scales, the sword, even the columns, are familiar ones, but I want to focus on the scales here. They could symbolize the process of weighing evidence, of measuring the case of one side against the other. They could also suggest that justice is about restoring balance. Whether or not that represents the somewhat horrifying biblical approach, an eye for an eye, or a more restorative one, we cannot say. I want to come clean and say I find it very hard to write about this card. I don't usually know what to make of it when it appears. I like tarot because I don't tend to view it prescriptively or literally, and this card can feel inescapably literal to me. Even contemporary interpreters of tarot tend to say this card predicts something in the world of legal issues, courts, enforcement, and a restitution. So if you have been wronged, and that's terrible, and I'm sorry, the Justice card is promising that you will be made whole. What that will look like is, of course, uncertain. Perhaps you're waiting on a legal ruling of some kind, in which case this card suggests things will end favorably for you. Maybe you're owed money or restitution, and it's on its way. Still, it's worth remembering that the tarot often wants you to take a good look at yourself and determine what's really going on. Some cards offer multiple interpretations that, while touching on the same theme, lead to very different conclusions about your own behavior, and justice is one of them. It's common to turn to the cards when we feel let down by the world and we're hoping for signs from the universe that we're on the right track, that our enemies are actually petty creeps, that wealth and love and success are just around the corner. Cards like justice say, not so fast, because no matter what circumstances you find yourself in, it's always worth considering your own part in them. How did you get here? What do you actually need to do to move on? And are you letting yourself adopt a self-serving narrative at the expense of the truth? If you are stuck like the snake, feeling confused about how you got here, the Justice card wants you to gently but seriously ask yourself if you might have been part of the problem. Nobody likes to be the problem. That said, if you are the problem, you also have the ability to fix it. That's great news. So let's take another look at this card. Or a snake is stuck until she can digest what she did and tip the scales back into place. You might find yourself in a similar position. It's time to really consider your role in your current predicament. Are you being honest? Are you being fair? Can more than one thing be true? Can you accept responsibility for yourself in the situation and more broadly in this life? These questions matter because they are how you get unstuck. Whether the circumstances you find yourself in are petty or serious, an honest accounting of them is how you cultivate self-respect. It's how you move through the world from a place of power rather than letting your spirit become small, timid, or vindictive. I think of the men I used to work with who were coming home after decades in prison. Often they'd been sent away for unfathomable amounts of time, completely disproportionate to what they'd done. Many of them were sent away as teenagers and returned middle-aged, just have to sift through their lives. These men were experts at holding two or more truths at once. The way they'd been treated was wrong, and the world had punished them for where they had come from and how much money they'd had. And also, they'd sometimes done terrible things that didn't sit right in their souls. They wished they hadn't done, but undeniably had. Being able to hold all of this at once gave them a kind of freedom that was palpable when they walked in a room. Truth does that. People love to say the truth will set you free, but it actually does. It makes you a reliable narrator of your own life. It means you can trust yourself. Best of all, it means you can move on. What is justice, really? And would anyone else's definition be satisfying to you? I wish you the best of luck with whatever you're going through. Forge ahead with a brave heart. Jesus H. Roosevelt Christ for you Outlander fans out there, which I am also. That is a good description. I'm guessing their other descriptions or her other descriptions are just as meaty and meaningful. I definitely want to, even if I had just pulled that card, I think that would be good to look at. There's so much there to unpack, and it seems very wise and thoughtful. So let's go to the 7 sevens. So they say sevens are about strategizing and clearing away illusions. So 7 of Swords. Deceit is the order of the day. You might find yourself in the position of lying to make things work. You could be withholding information, cutting corners, or trying to get away with something. That might not be a bad thing. The version of this card I like best is the one that acknowledges that sometimes you need to be a bit of a trickster. Like when you say you're feeling under the weather just so you can cancel dinner plans and spend the night with your art project instead. Just make sure you're strategic about it. If you're caught out in your lie, whatever it may be, make sure you'll be able to justify it. That's funny. Will it cause you or others shame and pain? If so, consider if dishonesty is really the best way. Generally, I would say, in my opinion, no. But to each their own. Okay. The eights, it says, are about moving forward, especially after setbacks. Yeah. Okay, so the 8 of Cups. Poor little crustacean, longing for a home. He's turning from a shell that won't fit toward the water and the moon. Those classic tarot symbols of intuition. Many crustaceans need to molt regularly, and when they do, they become achingly vulnerable. You might be feeling tender, but it's time to let go of something you've outgrown. Perhaps a relationship, career, or home. Nothing else will force this loss on you. Instead, you must walk away from what you know to be wrong. Something better is waiting for you in the future, though the search might be long and indirect. Still, you can't stay in an old shell that doesn't fit. And then to top it off, we have that sort of tiebreaker of the 6 of Swords. So they say 6s are about rites of passage, self-awareness, and returning to ourselves. Sometimes we must leave something behind with a heavy heart. You've been carrying your burden around, perhaps some past grief, or a story about who you wanted to be, or an unchangeable situation you feel mixed in. Now it's time to set sail for a new shore. The good news is that the worst is behind you, symbolized here by the turbid waters at your back. But to move forward, you have to clear some of these swords out of the way. It's up to you to let go of something, to to make the hard choice to release whatever is keeping you stuck. You're carrying the promise of something new. Look at the sweet sleeping gosling. So he's right there. And it says, you're carrying the promise of something new. Look at the sweet sleeping gosling. With you to calmer shores. So yeah, I see the reading changed a little bit, or their book part of the reading changed a little bit of how I would see the Seven of Swords, and the idea of the trickster. But for me, this reading is, sorry, I'm trying to put the book down, is particularly meaningful because I am going through a situation that's all about this stuff. And I don't feel like I need to be a trickster. I am a trickster. But I feel like weapon's not the right word. Like, armed, if that makes sense. Again, I don't mean weapon-wise. I mean, like, soul-wise, you know, sort of like ready for action as much as you can be. But that really, I'm trying to resolve this so that I can move on in this. Although, I think if I were to be fair as I read through this, it's sort of like no matter what happens in this situation, I need to be moving to this situation. I was thinking the other day about some things related to what's going on in my life, and I kept saying this mantra while I was hiking, where I was like, they don't own you and they don't define you, and they don't own you, they don't define you. Because sometimes I think it feels like that when there are things hanging over our head or things that are larger than us. And I had to remind myself, like, I can always walk away. You know what I mean? I can always just say bye. You know, and I don't want to drop justice. But if it was to cost me too much, I don't have the energy for it. I could get my little mother goose and float away on the ocean. So, and I was also thinking, you know, they talked about like letting go. Is that, well, I don't think you should necessarily like force forgiveness. And I don't think forgiveness is forgetting. And all those cliches, I don't think it's forgetting. And I don't think forgiveness means something or someone does not have to be brought to some sort of justice. I'm a firm believer in the idea of like forgiveness is more about releasing yourself from your tie to the thing that you're forgiving or the person you're forgiving. So really severing that tie to let you, you know, float away. Maybe using those swords to sever that tie. So I was trying to tell myself, you know, that's kind of my goal, is to reach. So if I see that, if I read this as sort of like that past, present, future, this is really more present. It's almost more just present and future for me with these cards, like a present where I'd like to be headed and where I hope I'm headed. One, both in the practical sense of some of the practical things, having some sort of resolution, and then also like the emotional processing of being able to forgive. And again, I mean that like, I'm trying to think how I actually mean it. I mean it like I said, maybe it's not even forgiving. Maybe it is forgetting. Trying to like some things are inexcusable. They might be understandable, like if you put yourself in that person's shoes and you can see, kind of like they were talking about prison, right? Like multiple things can be true. Someone could have done something really bad, and you can see like, oh, how they got from point A to point but that also doesn't mean that that's okay. And so, like, understanding is not necessarily excusing, and understanding is not necessarily saying something's okay. It's just saying, like, oh, okay, I see how a human being can get from point A to point B. So I'd like to get from the point where I can say, oh, I can see how they got there, but still feel a lot of negative emotions, and get to the point where I can say something like, it doesn't even matter to me anymore. Or it was only something, where like, oh, it's just a story in your past. That obviously, the things I've been through it's not even recent, the past couple of years, they'll never be past, like a lot of, I'm sure we all know, like a lot of causes of grief, a lot of different things like that, they have lasting consequences, like things, like a drop of water, right? Like, things ripple out no matter what. But I mean more sort of like letting go of that focus on it and being able to be like, it's not even in my peripheral vision. The consequences might not be behind me, but I'm not staring at the event itself. And my world can open up, like there's more fish in the sea kind of thing. Or more sea in the sea. So yeah, that's kind of what I get out of it. Is it's kind of eerily nail in the head for me today. Like not just like, oh, maybe like, oh, I can see this, but more like, oh shit. Okay? And I don't want to read too much into it, like they said with that Justice card, because that definitely hits like a little close to home, and I don't want to be